What's up, family? Texas Fan of Rehab here, man. Listen, it's been a great week. How you guys feeling, man? Y'all still riding the wave, man? The CJ wave? Man, it's been a good week, man. Great win that we had on Sunday, man. CJ coming through and providing us with the calm and the continuity and, putting together that drive, man. Listen, we saw a fantastic game, man. As Texans fans, I'm sure you guys have seen how this season has gone this way, man. This has been way different than any other season that I can recall. As far as knowing that we still have a chance in the game, man. Knowing that we still can put something together, and there's still hope out there, man. Of course, in the name Texas Fan of Rehab, man. Of course, it's a little undertone of apathy, I guess you could say, in the fact that I've been a Texans fan for the longest, man, and I've seen everything from top to bottom, the good times and the bad times, and it's just amazing that we're in the zone right now where we have C.J. Stroud that can provide us with a nice subtle undertone of consistency, man. And even as a rookie, man, that's something that I couldn't imagine to see, that we have a rookie that can sit in there and lead this team in a way where we feel confident that we're going to get a positive outcome at the end of the game. But let's get into this, man. Of course, the game went fantastically well. I know you guys saw that. I released a video before the game. I said that the Texans wouldn't win. I predicted that we'd be close, but not, we wouldn't be able to keep up and score with Tampa Bay. I thought that Todd's defense over there with the Bucs, I thought that he was going to throw the kitchen sink at CJ, man. He's got a tremendous defense. He's a guy that's he's well known for his defensive schemes, and he literally did just that, man. I waited to release this video until the All-22 came out because I'm one of these type of guys, man. I like to kind of get into the finer details of what's going on, what's the quarterback seeing, how's the play breaking down, that kind of thing like that. So, I'm not gonna be the type of dude to post the All-22, but I just want to be able to try to get into the mindset of what the quarterback sees, because it's a lot bigger than the surface level stuff of what, as a casual fan, you'll see, okay, he threw the ball to Tank Dell, that caught the ball, great. There's, the route concepts, the scheme on how they're trying to get players open and stuff, man. So I want to cover some of that stuff today, man. Listen, shout out to CJ. Let's just start right there, man. Shout out to CJ. I mean, his composure is crazy. His ability to see the game for what it is and see the plays for what it is just immaculate, man. And shout out to Bobby Slowick, man, because he had to make a huge adjustment right in the middle of the game, because the first half and the second half was like night and day. First half, we couldn't get everything flowing the way that we needed to. Definitely couldn't hit the. CJ was tripping on hitting guys that were pretty open. And so to see how he made that switch to the second half, I think it largely hinged on the fact that we didn't have a kicker for the second half of the game. And I know that seems like something that's surface level, but if you really think about it, when you take out the fact that we can't kick the field goal or we can't go for an extra point, you have to get aggressive. And if you're playing against a team that could score, or that was allowed to score the way that Tampa Bay was scoring, man, like, you have no other option. So it was interesting to see that when you took out the fact that we didn't have that safety net, how they adjusted and became a lot more aggressive. And one of the things that I saw from the All-22 film was the fact that they compressed or condensed how they did their setups, man. It was really interesting to see, man, because instead of them spreading out wide on plays that they would normally do with certain concepts offensively, they compressed the whole offense to within the numbers. And you could see that opened up a lot of routes for the wide receivers, whether they were going outside on post or if they wanted to do some seam routes or whatever. It gave them a lot more. I guess it gave CJ a lot more visibility to see the field and see where the blitz were coming from and see where the coverage was. They could see that in fine detail as they were doing their motions and stuff in a compact space. It was real interesting to see how that broke down, man. But that played a very big role when it came to that last drive with 46 seconds to go, man. I mean, CJ just took what was available to him. He, I wouldn't say dink and dunked, but these guys were open in the route concepts, and he went through his progressions as he should. Hit the guys that were open. They went for for the extra yardage that they could get. Of course, the idea was that they wanted to get out of bounds, but when you're working within those margins, the defense has an assignment too. They want to make sure that they keep everybody in play. And for as good as it was, shout out to Coach too, man. Let me give Coach D'Amico some love, because time management was also a factor. I think that we've also seen, and I'm sorry for separating from my point, but I think that we've seen as fans, we've seen this long enough where we know that time management has been an issue here in Houston. We saw that with Coach Kubiak, where I think Nick Wright used to always say that it would be nice if Coach Kubiak would hire a guy to manage the time, just focus on strictly managing the time, because that was one of the things that was one of his weak points. I remember with OB being here, he would get a little too excitable and he forgets some things as far as time management goes. So, shout out to them as far as time management on that last drive specifically, because with 46 seconds and 2 timeouts to go, they made some very, very smart decisions with how to use those timeouts. I mean, they used them on back-to-back plays with Dalton Schultz getting short passes to eat up a little bit of yardage. Instead of trying to run up and spike the ball, they took the timeout, which worked out very, very well, because with the swing point on that drive was the fact that they had that pass to Tank Dell on the left side before he went out of bounds. That saved a significant amount of time on the clock. It saved just enough time for them to go ahead and have the deep pass. And another thing that was significant was on the penalty that I think the penalty that the Buccaneers had, there was an option for a 10-second runoff. That 10 seconds would have played, significant towards the end of the game. I mean, had they allowed for that runoff to happen, they scored or whatever, then, we wouldn't have even had the opportunity to throw that ball down the, down the seam to Tank Dell for the touchdown. So that was tremendous, man. Again, if you watch the All 22 video, man, it's something good, so you can pick up some extra details. Of course, there's videos on YouTube where they're breaking down the film and everything. And everything that you hear, man, everything that you hear about the guys that are breaking down the film, whether it's Colt McCoy or I forget my man that does it for the QB school, but everything that you hear from these quarterbacks, man, they're gushing over CJ Stroud. I mean, it's just amazing to hear how they are, they're giving him credit every single week for how he is, seeing different things on the field, and how, where he's doing his ball placement. They're calling him a ball placement specialist. You even hear it from the guys on national media, man. You hear it from RG3, you hear it from Colin Cowherd, you hear it from I'm blanking out on names, man, but you're hearing it from everybody, man. Everybody's giving CJ Stroud some love. So I want to kind of touch into that too, man. Like, where do you see CJ Stroud right now? I know for me, I see CJ Stroud as not only the player of the week, I see him as not only the player of the month. He's definitely a shoo-in for the rookie of the year, in my opinion, because Bijan has been out for a couple weeks, and some of these other guys that were getting such big noise and hoopla to start the season. Of course, Bryce Young is, he's on a team that's lesser than, we'll say. But a lot of these guys that we're getting all of the hoopla and stuff coming into the season, you're not seeing their names pop up as much on a consistent basis as you're seeing CJ, man. I don't know, we're only halfway through the year, so there's still a long amount of time to go, a long season to go. But you're still seeing CJ show improve every single week, man. Even on a bad week, you're still seeing something from that game that you can glean from. I think the only 2 bad weeks, and I can't remember the second one off the top of my head right now, but of course the Ravens game. But you got to give that a pass, because that was his first official NFL game. But ever since then, man, you've seen him make some remarkable plays. You've seen him put up record-setting performances. I mean, he still only got 1 interception on the season, and that's crazy, man. I think that I heard somebody say that since 1970, they haven't had anybody make it this deep into the season with just 1 interception, period. Like, anybody. You know what I'm saying? So doesn't matter if he's a rookie or not or whatnot. So I know that there's been opportunities for him to get picked off, but it is what it is. I mean, it hasn't happened. You know what I'm saying? So so shout out to CJ, man. Of course, he's doing phenomenal things. I fully expect him to be in a running for MVP. I know that that's a little scary sometimes, but I think that that's a dope thing that we have a rookie that is legitimately in the running for MVP. I know Lamar Jackson is having a phenomenal year, and maybe one or two other guys is having a phenomenal year. But I think a lot of the injuries are taking guys out, so that is opening up a nice little window of opportunity for CJ to try to stand in and represent. And the real question is, will the media or whoever votes on this thing, will they give CJ a proper chance at fitting in for the MVP? I mean, it's already well documented that the MVP is pretty much a quarterback race, unless all of the quarterbacks are trash, and then they'll give it to somebody else. But the leverage is highly favored for the quarterbacks. But have the quarterbacks been performing the way that they've typically been performing? I know Patrick Mahomes is kind of having, all things considered, a down year compared to what he did last year. So you got to look at what these guys are performing and what they're doing on a week in, week out basis for right now. And we'll look at the totality of it all at the end of the season. But I think the CJ is definitely going to be in the running. He's already top 10, if not top 5, and he ain't number 5. But I might have said that wrong, but whatever. It's all good. I want to give a special shout out, man, to Daria Ogunbowale. I know a lot of guys mess his name up. I make it a priority that I want to make sure I say his name right. So Daria Ogunbowale. Dang, I already messed it up twice. But Daria Ogunbowale, man, he stepped in a critical moment, man, when we lost Kaimi Fairbairn. And, hopefully Kaimi can come back pretty soon. But, that is put your nuts on the table type of moment, man, where, you step up at the half and you raise your hand and you say, hey, I think I can do this. And he stepped in, man, and he kicked those kickoffs and, got 2 touchbacks. I think he kicked off 3, maybe 4 times, got 2 touchbacks out of the deal, which is tremendous for a guy that, probably only kicks the ball, a couple times in the off season, training camp or whatever, just to kind of show that he's got the athletic talent to do it. But they in no way had any, plan of preparedness that he would be the guy. But, lo and behold, he shows a little bit of leg and they say, pause. But lo and behold, he shows a little bit of ability to get the ball, accurately down the field with depth. And I think it was that first kickoff that he did where he kicked it through the end zone, but it was almost directly in line with the field goal that probably gave them a little bit of hope that, okay, he might be able to kick this thing straight and pretty consistently or whatever. I mean, he had one that didn't come off his foot right. I know in his warm-up coming out of the half, I saw that video clip, and it kind of shanked off to the right. But outside of that, man, it looked like he had the preparedness. He was ready. And, it's something to say about a guy that is prepared and ready for the moment when the lights are shining bright, man. So shout out to Daria Ogunbowale, man, because you did a phenomenal job, man. I think that changed the entire scope of how the offense played the second half. Of course, like I mentioned before, they didn't game plan for Kaimi Fairbairn not being in the game, but they had to transition to a much more aggressive offense. And in the spot where they needed at tied 30-30, when they needed that field goal, he stepped up and kicked that field goal, man. And listen, that made a huge difference in the game. Of course, being a 2-point game, 2-point outcome, that was a tremendous feat for him. No pun intended. I think that they did what they needed to do for that one time, for that one field goal, and I think that they played it smartly when it came to the opposite. The final play of the game after they scored the touchdown, they had an opportunity to kick a field goal on an untimed goal. On an untimed play, kick a field goal or go for a 2-point conversion. They had already had a play earlier where it was a 2-point conversion that didn't go well. So I don't think they wanted to take that risk because 2-point conversion going the opposite direction, you got a tie ball game now. All of that for nothing. And then on the other side, if Dari, he's already riding on this high, he's already confident and everything like that. But if he happens to miss that field goal, or that point after attempt, or if he happens to get it blocked or whatever, again, you have the same outcome, same circumstance. And so why take that risk, right? Like, just take the knee, trust in your defense. You only got 6 seconds to go, so it's only 1 or 2 plays that can happen. You got, you can get a Hail Mary and a pass interference or something like that where you have the defensive player make a mistake and then they get an untimed down, and then again you have basically two chances of bad luck, and then you have another play which, you know, in the annals of history, man, it rarely ever happens to conclusion, where you have, you know, the pitch and the toss and, you know, all of that crap going on, man. It's a melee out there on the field, so that's least likely to succeed as well. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're gonna take a risk assessment of what you got to do as a coach, man, I think that they did the right thing. They just took a knee, get the play over with, put it in the hands of the defense, and let's get this game going, button down and go home, man. So really dope game, man. Really, it was really like energizing for me as a fan to be able to see how they put everything together out there on the field. They just came with the mentality that they were going to win no matter what. Of course, they didn't give up on anything when, you know, when the stakes were down. And man, like it really just gave me hope as a recovering fan. As I always recovering fan, is one game at a time. But I really enjoyed, man, watching this game probably more than any game that I've seen all season. I know that the Saints game was probably just about on par with this, minus the circumstance that we had to overcome. So, you know, listen, I'm excited about how this season is going. Of course, we're sitting at 4-4. So we get to, you know, wipe the slate and start off fresh again for the rest of the season. This is an exciting time for the city, man. You know, I've seen people basically floating around the city wearing our gear. I noticed that CJ made a comment about, I think it was CJ made a comment about the fans in the stands, that, you know, hopefully with them stacking these wins together, that'll get the turnout to be a little different. And listen, I got to be real with you, man. Like, I've been to enough Texans games to know that, you know, Texans fans have been the type that, you know, if it depending on how the game of the season is going, we might sell them tickets and get a little money back in our pockets for, you know, the cost of those tickets. And, you know, you usually are selling those tickets to a fan on the other team, man. So it'd be dope as we go to the second half of the season to see more and more fans of our, you know, of our team that are in the stands and representing, because it would be nice to hear. I saw a video clip of how loud the stadium was back when Andre Johnson was having his historic record breaking 273-yard game against Jacksonville, where he ended it on the tunnel screen that he took to the end zone, and how loud it was in that crowd, man, when everybody was erupting and just celebrating the fact that, you know, this is our team, this is what it was. It was nice to hear that the stadium was vocal like that again with fewer people for this game, but I can only imagine what it's like to actually be there, man. So I encourage a lot more fans to start going out to the games, man, and keeping your tickets, man, showing up, supporting this team. I mean, I know it's been a while since we've had this many wins in a season in that stadium. Trust me, I know, because I was there for the tie last year, man, and that sucked. But it looks like we're having a lot more success and opportunity for success, man, and just vibe off of the fact that we got a good quarterback, man. We have our quarterback, man. I can't state that enough. I know folks probably, you know, tired of hearing me parade and hold up the flag for CJ Stroud, man. You know, I'm like, every week, I'm like, CJ, stun on them hoes. I love it, man. I love it, man. But we've been needing a quarterback like this. We've been needing a leader like this, a dynamic playmaker like this for a very long time. I know we had what's his face, Matt Schaub, man. But, you know, to not have to sit there and think about a Schaub 6, you know what I'm saying? To not have to sit there and worry about, you know, the giraffe telling us that every interception has its own story. To not have to sit there and listen to, you know, players kind of shun the responsibility off on somebody else. This man does great post-game interviews. He does great interviews in between the week. And to be honest with you, man, if you hear some of the players and how they talk about him, man, like, who was it? Was it Jalen Petrie, man? I think it was Jalen Petrie that said that he's got ice water in his veins, man. I'm going to have to find the clip. And then, you know, you got a lot of guys that just have bought into what CJ is, man. So, anyway, man, I'm getting a little long with this video, man. But great week, great win, man. I'm going to see if I can chop this video, make it about 2 or 3 of them or whatever. But, man, I'm going to look forward to this next game. We have Cincinnati on the docket. Cincinnati is not who they have traditionally been. They got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. Of course, Joe Burrow has got this calf injury that I think that he should have probably been done for the season, but he's toughing it out and getting through it. Jamar Chase is dealing with a back injury. So, we have a chance, man. I don't want to speculate on what the score is going to be yet, because apparently I'm pretty bad with this. I think looking at my record, man, I probably have like one or maybe two successful predictions, man. So maybe I'll keep the predictions going in the opposite direction just so we can win. And I can say that I'm maybe influencing the outcome some sort of way. I don't know, man. But until next time, man, Texas Fan in Rehab, I'm out.